Who would have thought that fitness can change your life? Well, it changes your body, but for me, it transformed every aspect of my life. It elevated my spiritual life. It transformed my mentality, changed my business. It was a great awakening. And it all started with fitness, losing weight. I want to take you on a journey that really moved me from a place where I was just like, I just need to get this weight off, to a place where I was like, wow, oh my goodness, let's go. Hello and welcome to On Your Lane. This is the best place for ambitious people who are taking charge of their lives, making that income, making that impact, and living fulfilling lives. And today we're going to talk about how I lost weight and transformed my life. My fitness journey transformed my whole life, and I'll take you through the process. So it starts with me being in a place where I had had my second C-section and I was dealing with postnatal depression. It was not a great place to be in because I was eating a lot and eating a lot of sugar and pastries and stuff like that. Not because I was hungry, but because I wanted some joy in my life. My pregnancies were tough. The childbearing process and after was even tougher. And in that moment, I was dealing with pain whilst breastfeeding. It was just terrible. And I was depressed. I was sad. Nobody knew how to help me. But this woman gave me a tip. She said, take your child, go outside and just take a walk and sing. I didn't have a big garden or anything like that. But I took my child because I didn't know what else to do. And I would go outside and sing these old songs about scripture, things I just remember. I don't know how I remembered those songs. I would sing those songs and that just started lifting me up, up, and I started feeling like I want to do something for myself. I want to move out of this dump and just get better. And that kickstarted my fitness journey. So when I started feeling better about myself, I started getting all these ideas, me spending time with God and just telling him, give me another chance at living this life better. Because when you're depressed, you sort of feel like it's the end. I just felt like I was dying or something like that. I just started asking God, give me an opportunity to live again. Show me how to live my life. I promise you I'll live differently. And as I was getting these ideas about my business, I own a farm and run a farm. I was getting ideas about that, about what I should do and everything like that. It just came to a place like where you are, you need to manage you, take care of you. And I was like, oh, okay, take care of me. And I remember taking a picture and my husband commenting, I don't want him to look like the bad guy here, but it was an honest comment. It was like, you still do look pregnant though. He said it harmlessly, but it went deep. I looked in the mirror and I said, this is the last time I'll look this way. And it wasn't like a challenge. In the past, I would give myself that kind of challenge. This last time I'll look this way and I'll start running and doing all those crazy things. But that time I just knew that something had shifted within me. I had made promises to God about being better and I had gotten great ideas for my business, great ideas for my life. And I knew I had to step up for me as well. I didn't know what that looked like. I was super attached to my child because I had gone through such a dreadful postnatal depression. I was going through that, but I was also going through this pain physically because of breastfeeding issues. So I felt like I had failed my child. And my child was smaller than my firstborn. And just that made me feel like maybe I didn't do well by her. During the pregnancy, I didn't feed her well. Like, it was just a lot going on. So I was like, okay, we're going to get ourselves out of this ditch. God helping me. I had made all those promises to him that, okay, I will follow you. I will do the right things. Just help me. So that's where it started. There were a few things I had to address, hindrances. And I think these are hindrances to weight loss, hindrances to success in any way, hindrances to growth, and hindrances to anything that you want to achieve that is progressive. These were the hindrances I faced when I made my decision to work on myself. First of all, I was ignorant. I didn't know any other way. I just knew that if I wanted to lose weight, I would stop eating and I would start running. And that never worked in the past, but what else was I supposed to do? But I also knew in this moment that I was super attached to my baby. I didn't want to go running anywhere. I felt so close to her and I also wanted to take care of her. So I knew I would not stop eating. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out something. I went on Instagram, would just scroll and see people and I'll be like, oh, amazing transformations. And I started seeing people who are legitimate, people who are sharing like, oh, this has been 2 years, this has been 3 years. And I was like, okay, maybe this is possible if I just do a few things differently. So I got information on how to lose weight, understanding calorie deficit. That is not the food you're eating. It's not the time you're eating. It is about how much you're eating, how many calories are going in and how many calories are going out. And you're managing that process. I started learning that actually you burn calories just to exist, to breathe, for your brain to function. And started mystifying all these things that I was scared of. I was scared of calories. Every time I saw something with lots of calories, I'd be freaked out, or I would ignore it completely and just indulge. And at that moment, I was overeating pastries and cakes. They used to make me happy because those are my favorite foods. There's comfort in that, there's sweetness in that. And so I was like, okay, I think I'm going to start from there. I'm not going to cut them out completely, but I'm going to commit to healthier snacks. And that meant more vegetables, more fruits. I don't snack on vegetables. I don't understand people who eat carrots as a snack. I don't know you people. But I did try the apples with peanut butter. I tried bananas, and just having more fruit around really helped me. And that was really just me defeating ignorance by committing to knowledge, understanding how my body works, understanding how weight loss works. Because sometimes you're touching everything. You're touching everything. Like, I'm trying this, bunting this, what, keto, whatever. And you don't know what makes you lose weight. It's not the process. It is just a formula. Energy in, energy out. If you have more energy in than out, you will gain weight. If you have less energy in than out, you will lose weight. And it doesn't mean you'll starve, because we do realize that it has to be consistent. I have lost weight before in the past and I'm gaining it all back. Why? Because I couldn't be consistent. So the knowledge gave me comfort, but also equipped me to understand that if I can know this about something that I've always had, my body, now, what else don't I know? And that was really empowering for me. The second hindrance was, this is how it's always been done. So I've always been overweight. My family, most of us are overweight, and that's just how it is. And that's how it is. That's it. So you get to accept that and just not want to mess with it. And I think another point that ties to that, which is my third point, I'm going to explain them together, is that people project their failures on you. So people in my family who have tried to lose weight, people who are my friends who are overweight, who have tried to lose weight and they haven't succeeded, will just say, this is just the way things are. So you become a community of people who are okay with being stuck in the space you're in. And that's how I felt. I felt like this is how it's always been, this is how it is. But I would look in the mirror and think, I really want to change this though. And I could not find encouragement from anyone in my circle, because they were like, you're breastfeeding, focus on that. You have a baby, focus on that. But me taking care of myself in that moment was really focusing on my baby, because I felt dreadful. I felt like flumpy. I didn't like how I felt. So I had to figure out a way. I knew it was possible to be healthy and breastfeed. And I needed encouragement. Sometimes I just want someone to say, it's possible, let's do it together. Or I'll check on you. I didn't have that. So I went on Instagram. And that Instagram really helped me, because I would just check in with these people. I wasn't talking to them. They weren't talking to me. But I just check on them. And it's not an addiction. Please watch that, because sometimes you can idolize people. You can compare yourself. You can raise some things within you, like jealousy, competition. And if that's not your jam, find motivation elsewhere. For me, I just found people who were more real, people who are not just showing, like just flaunting results without the process, people who are sharing their journey. And I felt like, oh, we're on this together, or I could be motivated by that. And that really inspired me to think outside of the process I was in, to think outside my environment where everybody was like, it's okay, just let it go. It'll go off with time. Because what was happening was, every time I went for a checkup with the doctor, I was gaining weight. So I knew it wasn't going to go out on its own. I was actually gaining more and more weight as time went, because my eating habits were crazy. So I realized that I needed to make a change. And the knowledge I was getting was good, but also the community I was getting online was also good. And so that defeated the hindrance that this is how it's always been, and the other hindrance that people around you then project their failures or their issues or their limitations on you and say, oh, let's just leave it like that. It doesn't work for anybody. The fourth hindrance, I would say, laziness. It's just pure laziness. Just, I don't want to do nothing. Especially when you have a kid and they're not sleeping. You have all the excuses to not do anything. But again, I would notice myself do other things, like watch TV. I would notice myself do things that were wasting my time but not increasing my well-being or my positive vibes or my mindset. They were not helping me. So I would stay on the TV. You'd say, oh yeah, you deserve to relax. I was relaxing. I'd feel terrible after that. So I knew I needed to just get up and do something. Start something. So acknowledging the laziness, acknowledging that, okay, I have so much going on, but now this is becoming a clutch. I don't have to run a marathon or run 20 miles or just cut out my food, but I can do something today that moves me forward. When you acknowledge a problem, then you can have a solution for it. It's better than just ignoring it, and then it will keep sabotaging you. All right, so that's my background and the things I was dealing with in my weight loss journey. And if you look at defeating all those things, that was a personal development process, y'all. It really just allowed me to be able to trust myself, allowed me to stand up for myself. It allowed me to seek out solutions for myself, and then to just say, okay, you're going to do this. Encourage yourself in the Lord. It activated my faith as well, because I would feel alone. And as much as I say that I would find community online, that's not all the time. So I had to talk a lot with God. I had to talk a lot with the Holy Spirit. And I'd get encouraged from that as well, because I feel like, okay, you're going to do this. It's going to make progress. So let me share how I actually lost the weight. The first thing is the knowledge I got. It empowered me. I realized that for me, my process was not going to be cutting out anything, because I wanted a healthy child whilst I was breastfeeding. I was committed to breastfeeding. So I breastfed my child for 20 months. I stopped because they beat me. They beat me so hard, and I was like, this is a wound. I was like, time out, time out. That's how I stopped breastfeeding. It wasn't because my milk stopped or anything like that. Because people think, oh, your milk will stop when you start eating well. No, I was eating well. I actually understood that I only needed 500 more calories to breastfeed successfully. I didn't need all the extra millions of calories I was consuming in the name of breastfeeding. So the knowledge empowered me. I realized I was a portion control girl. I wanted liberty to eat everything. And I just started working on how much of everything. So I'd eat a little bit of rice, a lot of vegetables, a little bit of protein, and I'd have fruit to snack on. I would eat pretty much all the stuff I liked, but in smaller portions. So portion control helped me. But when I say everything I like, people sometimes think I would just eat. No. I would also acknowledge the fact that I'm full. Acknowledge the fact that I need some self-control. Acknowledge the fact that I am depressed or I'm sad. That's why I'm eating. So maybe I need to pray. Maybe I need to go for a walk. That is also some things, some pathways that were developed from knowledge. I didn't know that before, so I would just eat my feelings out. But when I got sad, I would pray. When I got stressed, I would go for a walk. And that started helping me get better. I would take my child on me and go for a walk, because still I was very attached to this child. I wanted to do everything myself, because I think of all the drama that was happening with my baby and my body and stuff like that. So the knowledge allowed me to know that portion control was for me, and that I could make adjustments that were healthy and could help me lose weight. At the same time, I started understanding that exercise was not 100% of my weight loss. It would make me feel good, it would help me feel in control, but it wasn't 100%. So what I started to do is, instead of doing these intense workouts where I thought, if I work out this much, I'll lose this much kgs. No, I'll just go for a walk. I'd go for a walk. I think I did that for 2 weeks or so. And I was like, you know what, these walks are not working for me. They're taking too much time. I'm tired. I started skipping. That way I could also watch my child whilst I was on the side. I would skip with her in the next room or with her at a distance. And that was helpful. So I started doing workouts in a way that was reasonable. So I would do like 100 skips, and then I would up it to 200 skips, to 500 skips, and so on and so forth. Because I had started understanding the portion workouts play in the fitness journey. And for me, it was that they raised this self-confidence in me. They released this hormone that made me feel good and fired me up for progress. At the same time, I acknowledged that nutrition was a big deal, and that's where my weaknesses were, when I had no self-control, didn't dodge and everything like that. So knowledge, understand yourself, understand your body, understand what you want to achieve, and find the balance there. Number 2 is one step at a time. Yes, take one step at a time. You can't change your whole body in one day. You can't build a whole business in one day. Nothing is done in one day. But you can do a little bit today that moves you forward. So instead of doing like changing your food, changing your habits, changing everything, it will overwhelm you and you will stop. You'll be overwhelmed and you'll be like in your own life, but feeling like you're in prison. I did that before in the past, where I felt like I'm just tired. My body is breaking down. I'm so tired. I'm so cranky. I'm so hungry. And I couldn't do anything about it because I was like, I want to lose weight. That's never sustainable. So for me, like just saying I'll walk. I started walking. I don't like walking because I always feel like it takes too long. Gives me too much time to myself. I'd rather go somewhere and do some intense workouts, but in the space I was in, I had to learn to walk, and that was enough. And when you start like a fitness journey or any journey really, you want to start it with fire. You have this motivation and you can cut out all the food and stay hungry that day and still be fine. For me, I realized that I don't want to stay hungry, but I do want to just adjust these milk scones. I need to stop asking my husband to buy me these milk scones because he couldn't say no, because he was like, okay, I need to help her the best way I can. So no donuts. I was like, okay, could you get me some fruit? Could you get me this and that? It was different. It was just one step at a time. Give yourself grace to understand that you will not transform in a day. You do not get where you are in a day, but you can move from it if you just take step after step after step. The third thing is change habits. Habits are powerful because they automate things. So if you find yourself just going to the same thing, like, I will not eat this, but you sit down on the couch, you're still eating the same food. You're still eating the crisps, a whole bag of it. That shows you have developed a habit that is now automated. So sometimes you have the willpower to say no, but when life gets going and stress and busy and everything, you will go back to the habits that are rooted. So you have to acknowledge those habits. Even have a moment in your day where you acknowledge, what do I do consistently every day? Acknowledge those habits and say, which habits do I want to change? And how can I change them? You can change some habits by changing your environment. Like if you have, for example, in my house, we had fruit, or not fruit per se, snacks on the counter in the kitchen. So whether you were passing by or just getting into the house, you would get to that snack. That's how it was, because it was so reachable. So you could change things like that. Changing your environment allows you to change your habits. So for me, simple things like I don't stock my groceries with all these junk foods that I love. If I want them, I have to really make an effort to go get them. That allowed me to build the self-control. Me changing where I put food from the counter to elsewhere allowed me to make my bad habits harder and the good habits easier to install. Me sitting on the couch and thinking, now this is time for me to have crisps and cakes. I started changing that a little bit. I didn't have crisp in the house, so what would I do? I'd have popcorn, I would have tea, and it allowed me to build new habits. When you build new habits, you are helping yourself take one step at a time. And that's how you achieve big goals, one step at a time. And your habits make that process easier. Instead of you using your willpower all the time just to say no to cake, stop having cake in the house. You can still have cake, but this time you need to drive all the way to buy the cake or bake it yourself. If you're doing something out of a habit, you're not invested in it enough to say, okay, I'm going to drive, or I'm going to take a bus, or I'm going to start baking it, so that really helps. The next thing you should do is trust the process. It's a process. It's going to take a bit of time. So be ready to be patient. I remember working out, so I would do my walks. And because I'm a very social person, I would post it on social. I'll post my workouts. I'll post my food a little bit. And I remember meeting a friend who said, oh, you look smaller on the phone. You're not changing. What is happening with you? And that could have broken me or made me sad. But I answered, check me out in 3 months. And I kept saying 3 months, even when 2 months were done. I kept saying, check me out in 3 months. Because from my understanding at this point, I knew that transformation doesn't happen overnight. And all these people I was seeing, who I was admiring, were committing, were explaining about 3 years, 2 years in this, and so on. And so for me, having done something for a month or 2 months, I knew that I had more time to keep doing this for me to see results. I had been pregnant for 9 months. I had my baby for 2 months, and it'd be crazy for me to expect the weight to go off in a healthy way in just a month. So I prepared my mind that way. I was like, I'm going to go all in. And I was feeling good about myself. That's why they would see those selfies after workouts and stuff. Because even though I was not seeing results, I was feeling amazing. I was taking charge. I was making some progress. I was moving somewhere. So I would stay with my baby. They would stay all night. But in the morning, I would be fired up to just go outside and do that 30-minute workout. I would just feel good about eating an apple. It just built me up. So I got excited about making my snacks. I got excited about finding out healthier options to my food. I started liking food I never liked before. Some sort of vegetables, like sweet potatoes were never a big deal for me. I never liked sweet potatoes in the past. I started learning about sweet potatoes and how I could make them differently. I started enjoying them. And so that allowed me to take my eyes off just the target and just enjoy the process. And I'll tell you that in 3 months, I had lost about 2 kgs only. And I had 20 kgs to lose. I was about 90 kgs at that point. I had lost 2 only, and I had been working hard consistently. It was 5 days a week. I would walk or I would skip, and I was eating well, eating clean. My milk was not moved, my milk was still coming, so I was still breastfeeding. The old me would have been frustrated and would have quit. I had never done at that point anything more than 2 weeks because it was usually something really restrictive, something really tough. When that friend made that comment, it was like 2 months in. Some pants started fitting me better, and that was so encouraging, but nobody could really see the change. Only I could see it. My husband would say, your waist is getting smaller. And then I'd meet somebody when I was running or outside walking. Somebody would say, oh, you look so big, go home. Yeah, people say stuff like that. In Malawi, my country, yes, I got such comments, and people would cuss at me for running in the road, and they would say, go home and just stop eating oily food and stuff like that. Things that could be hurtful, but I would just put my headsets on and there would be no music there. So I'd pretend I'm not hearing and I'd just be like, whatever. But the thing is, you have to trust the process. The results come. Things are working. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not working. And that's why I love the Bible. It says, walk by faith, not by sight. You're doing the right things. Keep going. Keep going. And I remember 3 months in, I think I'd lost like 3 kgs. 4 months though. 4 months was something. I think I lost 5. And then after that, it just started dropping. After 5 months, I had lost almost 18 or so. Like the weight just kept dropping. And I remember telling my husband that, okay, I need to slow this down because I don't know what's happening. I'll just stand on the scale and it was just dropping and dropping. And that's how my body responded to it. Our bodies respond differently. But that was trust the process. And the very friends who were like, oh, just forget it and whatever, where the very people were like, are you still breastfeeding? What are you doing? It's working. How can you help me? You see, you have to trust the process. It never lies. And the last thing I did is to fire up my mindset. So if you see this process, it's not like I did it in that order, but it's just a few things that I did that helped me lose weight. A mindset that was prepared for a longer process. A mindset that was willing to persevere. A mindset that was committed to a lifestyle transformation. On the other hand, it was also because I had a baby and I was like, I really have to take care of my baby at the same time as I'm taking care of myself. And so that balance helped me eat better. It helped me with self-control. Things that I didn't care about, but I ate anyways. I stopped. I told myself, you're not just a trash can, Mavis. There are some things I would eat just because they're there. Like I don't like crisp, but I would eat it because it was there. So I was like, okay, if you want to eat something indulgent, why can't you eat something you appreciate? Rather than just saying, this is here, I'm just eating. I don't like Fantas and Cokes and soft drinks. I love smoothies. So instead of just saying, oh, Coke is here, let me just chuck it. I was like, okay, I would rather keep my calories for something that I enjoy, like smoothies. That was a mindset I was building. It was learning to say no and yes and no and yes. And that was sustainable. And that was different. For the first time in my life, I could say no to cake because it tasted. In the past, I'd say, cake is cake. I would eat whatever cake was there. Like, okay, oh, it doesn't taste well. There's no salt here. But anyways, I would eat it. But this time I'd be like, oh, no, not worth it. And that was transformational. And going through all this process allowed me to learn about myself, my gifts, my strengths, allowed me to share my journey. It was the first time in my life I had seen a process through, in spite of my feelings. It was the first time in my life I had pushed in spite of no cheering. It was the first time I had achieved something and I was so proud of it, but had not compromised everything else to achieve it. My child was there, my health was there, my business was there, my family was there. I had found that balance and God coached me through it by allowing me to make these adjustments, because you don't just learn to change your habits. So I would continue to spend time with God. I'll continue to pray. I'll continue to read the Bible. And all these things built me up, encouraged me all through this process. So it was weight loss, yes. And I love my weight loss. It just opens up to new possibilities, really. And I hope by watching this, you get to be fired up, not just to lose weight, but to go all in, to be open to transforming your life. Because it made me understand, hey, what am I wasting away? I had lived a whole life thinking I could never lose weight, giving up on it. Now, what else could I have done if I had put up my mind to it? So when you unlock the power of your mind, when you understand that you are resilient, you are amazing, you're patient, you are trainable, teachable, you can be molded. There's nothing permanent about you, in a sense that it's not like your intelligence is a C and that's it. It's not that your body is the way it is and that's it. You can change, you can grow, you can improve. Not to be like somebody else, but to be the best version of you and to achieve the big things that God has created you for. And you're curious at least to see that. So I hope this inspired you to take some action. And if you have some questions, please drop them in the comment below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so that we can continue to grow this community. And if you'd like to work on your fitness, I have a program for it. I have a link in the description. Check it out. If you just like personal development, to grow your mind, to grow your possibilities, your business, your career, your leadership, I'm there for you. Check me out in the description box as well. There are links there that should lead you to me. And if you just want to connect, I'm all over social. You'll find the links in the description as well. My name is Mavis Tandizo Ganjadza, and it's always a pleasure connecting with you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.